News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. There we go. Make it a preset. Kris Krok Show. And we are live from Hofstra University campus at their broadcast facility. It's way nicer than my college station. In fact, dare I say they're rivaling our studios. It's that good. It's really an amazing facility they have here. I envy some of the tools they have here. Of course, we have a nice little empire over there, and I got a nice studio at my place, but no longer is that relevant. I have an insane journey to get here, and it's crazy, which I'll talk about. We'll talk about your airport nightmares as well coming up next. But right now, I want to get into one of the big stories of the day, and that is the Hunter Biden trial. Craziness going on. Do you know that his ex said, I think it was Halle Berry, that he smoked, or was one of the other ladies that testified that one of his former baby mamas or, flings. But he testified that he smoked crack rocks the size of, sometimes it was like sometimes the size of a golf ball. A crack rock the size of a golf ball. Look, I'm praying to God that nobody listening is smoking crack rocks and knows what the size of the crack rock is. But if you're a cop, if you work with narcotics, or you work at at the airport, and you have to look out for crazy schnizzle like that, somebody needs to tell me what it's like to have what that means. Because I've never touched, looked at, or held crack in my hand, and I'm grateful for that. I don't want to have it anywhere near me. But Hunter was smoking a golf ball size rock sometimes. Other times, I can't remember the other size. It was like a little pea size, but I mean, that's insane. I know that's like, they said that he was high so much that you couldn't tell he was high. She said he smoked crack in front of her, and she couldn't tell he was high. And then the judge suppositioned that, was speculating with the 5 this afternoon on Fox, that, in fact, he was probably high. The people are saying, how could he have been this astute businessman when he was working with corrupt nations like Ukraine and Russia and China doing these business deals? Well, if you're so high on crack all the time and it doesn't affect you because your tolerance is so high you could smoke a golf ball with a crack, maybe you're doing just fine. And then, Jill Biden. I'm going to do a lot of wooing because I'm on 1 hour sleep. It's been a wild ride. We'll talk about that later. Not a Dr. Jill Biden, but Halle Biden, I think it was, in the gun thing. She did a great little thing where you take the gun. It's like a drive-through.
May I help you, ma'am? Yes, I'm here to drop off a gun. No problem, ma'am. Just leave it right there in the trash can. We'll let a homeless guy get it for you, and then Hunter can blame it on a Hispanic guy. Thank you. How much? Oh, it's free, ma'am. Just dump it in the garbage. Frank, the homeless guy, veteran, will pick it out of the garbage can. You saw this woman, classic Biden privilege. Speaking of white privilege, classic Biden white privilege, dumping a firearm in a trash can, and then when Hunter's caught, he tells her to lie, go get it, lie, and say it was stolen. What a great guy! What a great guy! And he took his brother's ex-wife, his brother who died. Beau Biden died, as you know, and then within a month or two, he bedded down with Beau Biden's widow. Oh, come here, let me console you. Get in the bedroom. That's what he did. And then he bedded down with her for a while, and then he said, hey, you need to try crack. And he did. He introduced her to crack, and she became addicted. This is a wonderful man. He is a wonderful man. And he left the drugs in his car. Oh, I like how his attorney was saying, Abby Lowe was saying, no. He was sober. Oh, yeah, he was high, and the documents say he was high like a week before. And he was high buying crack from a man named Mookie at an intersection behind the 7-Eleven in downtown Delaware a week afterwards or 2 weeks afterwards. So he was getting high on the record in all of his digital, emails and everything and text a week or two before and a week or two after. But right there, he had went to rehab and he was sober for a week. Swear to God. And on the day after he ditched the gun and is accused of lying on the federal form and bought the gun, the day after he said, I'm with Mookie, I'm scoring a deal behind the 7-Eleven. So he's sober for 24 hours, and that's when he signed the gun form and said, I'm not lying. I'm sober. I'm not a drug user. Yes. That is perfect. That's like Bidenomics. It all adds up. It works out. It's perfect. It's great. This is why we need to keep voting Democrat. Everything's working. It works well. We're almost there. We're so close. Keep voting. Did you see Joe today? We'll talk about that later, but everybody's putting their hand on their heart during the national anthem, and he's looking behind him.
And he's looking at the seat trying to sit down when everybody's standing up. This guy's on top of it. He's a fearful leader. We got to fear him. I know the world does. All right. No sarcasm whatsoever. All right, a couple questions for you on this. Okay, and by the way, the Intel people, can you play me that? Well, we'll play it in a second. There's a great, we'll have some audio for you of like a little montage of the Intel people and all the fake news MSNBC, fake news CNN people saying that laptop is fake. It's Russian disinformation. We'll get to that in a sec. But I want to ask you a few things. Do you think Biden, the Dems, the media, and the 51 former Intel people who all lied to us so that Joe Biden could win the election and say the laptop was fake, now it's used as evidence and displayed as evidence and verified by the FBI itself, and they knew this back then, but they rigged the election that way. Do you think Biden, the Dems, the media, and the 51 former Intel people owe us an apology? And should those Intel people lose their security clearances for good for lying to the world and to our country about that so that Joe Biden could rig the election? They could rig it for him? After his top campaign person, Anthony Blinken at the time, literally created the letter and recruited the CIA people to lie? And do you think all these salacious and drug-addled details of Hunter will lead to Hunter's conviction? And do you think he's guilty? Or do you think maybe, you know what? Yeah, he did drugs, but, you know, he had a moment of sobriety. And you know what? He's paid enough. Let's do jury nullification, where we know he's guilty, but we're going to be the last piece of justice, even though he's guilty, and we're going to let him off because he's paid enough. What are your thoughts on that? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Obviously, you don't know my thoughts. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Chime in right now on Newstalk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. That's 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. And producer Garrett, all this craziness on the fly, I'm going to pull up. I know you sent me, there you go, the little call screen info. Everything's on the fly, but it's good. My wife was freaking because I have like an hour of sleep. Because of all this airplane nightmares we'll talk about later. She's like, you're going to be terrible. I'm like, no, I'm going to be fine. I'm probably better. What the heck? All right, here's what I wanted to share with you. Let's hear this montage, this beautiful montage of these people telling us that the laptop was fake. And you know, the polls said that 17% of Americans, 17% said they would have changed their vote against Biden if they would have known this was true, and it was true. But he rigged it. Let's play that montage right now.
More than 50 former intelligence officials signed on to a letter yesterday saying that the New York Post story about Hunter Biden's emails has, quote, all of the classic earmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign.
And to me, this is just classic textbook Soviet Russian tradecraft at work.
Rudy Giuliani was not fed passively Russian disinformation. He ordered it off the menu. He demanded it be brought to him.
The letter's signatories span 4 administrations, including the current one, and include former CIA directors John Brennan, Michael Hayden, and Leon Panetta.
So here you have a willing target, and the Russians who are very sophisticated about how to exploit a willing target. And to me, that's what's at work here.
So this looks like Russian intelligence. This walks like Russian intelligence. This sounds like Russian intelligence.
That their collective national security experience makes them, quote, deeply suspicious that the Russian government played a significant role in this case, and suggests that Russia is trying to influence how Americans vote in this election.
Do you think stuff like that could just have been planted in there and be completely fake?
I do.
Every intelligence professional I've been talking to, Mika, says this is a Russian intelligence disinformation campaign.
Russian disinformation. You see that? The Russians! It's fake! They knew it was real. Anthony Blinken, Joe Biden's campaign manager, knew it was real. He wrote the letter that the intelligence people signed. He recruited them all. They all lied, and they rigged the election, and 17% of people said they would have switched their vote. And they didn't, because they didn't know. How rigged is this to you? How rigged was our last election to you? Do you think they owe us an apology, and should those people be banned from their clearance? And do you think all these salacious, drug-addled details will lead to Hunter Biden's conviction? And do you think he's guilty? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Chime in right now, 800-288-9227. Now, Joe Biden said he confirmed he will not pardon his son. Do you believe him? I'll tell you what he said exactly today. And has Joe Biden seen his 5-year-old granddaughter? He loves the grandkids. He loves them. Well, this one that Hunter fathered with a stripper, he never even acknowledged. He didn't have a stocking. He had a stocking for the dog and all of his granddaughters except for this one. until the media said, dude, you're not even acknowledging your own granddaughter. And then he acknowledged her, but he's never seen her. Maybe Hunter has. I'll tell you about that next as well on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. All right, Kris Krok Show live from New York for 2 nights, and it's awesome, actually. So, and I want to thank Hofstra Universities. I'm going to give you guys a hat tip every hour. I want whatever you want for your first, last names, etc. The gentlemen over here are just doing an incredible job. They're young guys. They're around the age of my son, and I love them. I love mentoring them, and I love pouring into them like people pour into my son. Very important, very good. Okay, so Trump still leads Biden after hush money verdict. Poll says and it's not hush money even. That's hush money is what Bill Clinton has paid out. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rahm Emanuel, they all do it. Business and politicians, whether it's false allegations or not. Poll reveals staggering number of Americans who want to see him in jail and how many will be swayed by Hunter Biden's trial. Most Americans say Trump and Hunter's trials will not impact their vote. That's a brand new Daily Mail poll. Here's another shocker for some. Virginia. In 2020, Joe Biden won Virginia over Trump by 10 points. Solidly blue. Then came along Glenn Youngkin, who threw out a Democrat governor in a blue state, a Republican, because people were transgender people boys were raping girls repeatedly at a couple of the top schools in the state, and they were being shoveled along to another school and buried and ignored, and there's no charges. And that man showed up at the school board meeting, and the superintendent mocked him, and the man was screaming, and the cops were ordered to drag him away and arrest him, and his little belly fat was sticking out as he was dragged away like a kook criminal, and he was right. The superintendent was fired and was charged with hiding a crime, a minor raping a minor, a guy in a dress raping this woman, and then they quietly sent him, as you remember, to another nearby school where he raped or fondled another girl, innocent girl, because he's the fake transgender guy, or real transgender, but he raped or fondled, sexually molested another girl. So you bury it, and you send him along, and he does it again. He's okay. He can do these things because he is a protected class. You are not. And when you call out the crime that's been done to your daughter, you're the criminal and you're arrested. And he was arrested and charged. And he had to be pardoned by Governor Glenn Youngkin, a Republican. And that's why he became the governor. He told the truth, and he wants this. He called it all this woke stuff. He got it out of the schools. Biden beat Trump by 10 points in 2020. Now, tie. From 10 points margin win, tie right now. What are you seeing? You're seeing a Virginia that is fed up. You're seeing a Virginia that has seen the leadership of a not-so-heavy Trump, more genteel and awesome gentle governor, Glenn Youngkin, with tough speak but gentle demeanor. And he endorsed Trump a while ago, and he's stumping for Trump, and he can win this one. There's some rumor that he could be VP, but as you know, he's not on the list. The short list was just released. And I think Tim Scott's the one. And I think Doug Burgum with Caterpillar, massive eyebrows on his head like a buffalo on his head, is not the one. Oh, he's going to win South Dakota or North Dakota. I said, whoa, that's already Republican. Oh, we need that. Marco Rubio's great, but no thanks. All right, so Hunter Biden's baby mama, London Roberts, says Joe and not a Dr. Jill still haven't even reached out to their granddaughter.
Oh, that one. He had her with a stripper. She's not real. We don't care about her.
Hunter has taken interest in her. He got started with the artwork, and he's talking to her regularly, and he wants to talk to her more and more and more. He's being a father now, and I think that's wonderful, because over everything else, it is being a dad and a husband, and that's what's most important in the relationship, other than your faith. But Joe, he's not a real man. He's a coward. Joe Biden won blacks in Virginia by 81 points. Now he's only winning by 48 points. He went from 81-point win in 2020. He has lost 53 points. 53% of blacks have turned to Trump in Virginia. Isn't that insane? You know why it is? They want their jobs. They want their money. They want to keep their money. They don't want to give it to Joe Biden at the altar of climate change and all the lies. Joe Biden confirmed he will not pardon his son as well today. Do you believe him? I don't believe him. I think if he's reelected, God forbid, God help this nation, that he will pardon his son after that because he's a lame duck president. He's not going to. What are you going to throw him out? He can do it. He will. I do. He's too protective of his son. Hunter's more of a man than his dad now, and Hunter will probably refuse the pardon and say, "I'm going in that jail." You watch. If he's a real man, he'll own it and tell his kids, "I messed up and I paid and I'm back." By the way, somebody like him can write another book and be right on top again because he's the president's son. There you go. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think Biden and the 51 former Intel officials owe us an apology? And should the Intel people lose their jobs, their clearances, I should say, for good? A lot of them are retired but do consultation or still have their passes. You should lose your security clearance when you lied to the country to rig an election. I mean, that's unbelievable abuse. And then do you think these salacious drug-addled details will lead to Hunter's conviction? And do you think he's guilty? I think the jury is going to nullify him still. They might not. They might convict, but I think they got the right jury. A quarter to half of African-American women who are very open to forgiving, giving second chances, and having compassion. A lot of people who are drug addict in the family. I think there's a good chance they'll do jury nullification where they know he's guilty, but they do the justice for him by saying he's paid his dues, let him go, he's fine. So we'll see how that goes. All right, coming up next on the Kris Krok Show on News Talk 820 WBAP from New York tonight and tomorrow. My worst airport experiences ever happened this morning and this afternoon. How about yours? What are yours? All right, what is your worst airport and airplane experience ever, and how did it work out? Mine is insane, and it was so wrong and so nasty, and there was so many failures and victories and failures and victories and retakes that it became a joke, and all I could do was have hope and laugh and know that I'm going to get out of this somehow. Even if I got to cough up $100 or $200 more for what shouldn't have been my fault, and it wasn't, but it happened anyways. That is next. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. Oh, and I talked to so many cool people, wonderful people in Atlanta and in White Plains, New York, where I flew into instead of New York City like I was supposed to, and Dallas. And you guys are the real deal. I love you guys. Whether you're at Delta, where I was today, or American, or Southwest, or all of them. The people at the ticket counters, you go through absolute hell, and people treat you so badly, and it's old news to you. But you have to become a ninja, but it still affects you. Same thing with the flight attendants. I had a bad experience with one today who really made me late and ruined my flight. I'll explain that too. But honestly, you guys go through hell, and I love your stories. I love hearing from you. And so I want to hear that, but also for you and me. What kind of hell have you gone through, and how did you get out of it? Or how did you survive it, or you did not? What did you do? What had happened? How did you come out of that one? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Chime in on that. Coming up next on the Kris Krok Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Hey, economist Stephen Moore from the Heritage Foundation, he's going to come on with us at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. He wanted to bump back a little bit tonight. He is one of my most favorite guests on Fox News, on Mark Levin on Fox, and he is a former Trump economist, and we're going to talk about the ADP jobs numbers that were released. And are we headed towards stagflation? Why is Bidenomics still destroying our country and inflation? The obvious question, the answer is no, but will groceries ever go back to what they were before Joe Biden took office 3 years ago, where they've risen in inflation by 20% across the board because of him? No, I understand. But let's hear it from him. And, as I mentioned, are we going to go into stagflation? So that's coming up at 9 on the Kris Krok Show. On News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Okay, so I'll give you my quick story, my sub-story about the plane. Okay, so I went home, slept for an hour or so, got on the plane had to be at DFW at 3:30, and then we left at 5:30. Unfortunately, something like that. And unfortunately, my plane, the Delta gave me a layover for 25 minutes to get across the airport, and that was enough time, except they were delayed. It was perfectly on time on the tarmac, and then it was delayed somehow by 21 minutes. So I arrived with 4 minutes to go from literally the opposite terminal, like on the if you look at the Atlanta terminal, I was in the far north of A. I had to go straight down to the middle and then go on a train and go all the way to the very end of the line through like 4 terminals, get off, and then run to the very end of the north terminal again. It was a disaster. It was like 2 football fields. And I was sprinting, and I was running so fast, and the bag has all these heavy things in it, and it flew off the side as I was going full sprint with my briefcase with wheels on it that usually is fine, but when you're running and the bag falls off and it tips it knocked me down like a football player getting tackled while I was running. I didn't hit anybody, but it was literally, I was like a hockey player on the ice that was crashed into the ground by some guy checking me. And look, I'm 50 now. Hey! But I work out, as you know, from one of my sponsors, Soda Weight Loss. I don't have my bell. I didn't bring with me. Ding! So I've lost almost 50 pounds. I'm in shape. But even with that, man, I was just sweating like a dog. I crashed on the ground. I didn't care. I got up. I kept running. I chumbawamba'd it. I got down, but I knocked up again, but nothing's ever going to get me down. Anyway, so I get there, and guess what? I'm late. No, sir, the plane's right there. Yeah, but you can't get on. The door's closed. But, ma'am, I got a live broadcast. Oh, yeah, the door's closed. Okay. Then I get rebooked to Norfolk. Because Norfolk's very close. Norfolk, Virginia, where the port is for the Navy or something. It's very close to New York City. It's a suburb, isn't it? And then I'm going to fly from Norfolk to DFW, or to, not to DFW, but to JFK, and get there pretty quickly on time. But guess what? That, too, was like a brief window in time. You got to go. And once again, it was even farther. So I went from one end of the terminal, I went past where I was the last time to the other end of the other side. I went to T, the international side. And so sorry, the door just closed. You just missed it, like Hillary Clinton when she lost the election. You were so close. You good try. Oh, you're so close. You almost so close. Like the guy with the lure. And Hillary's like, So that was my favorite meme of that time. Anyway. So I missed it again. Hey, buddy. Hey, we're so sorry. I'd say let's go grab a burger, buddy, but I'm not buying you anything. Yeah. And then I got it's not Delta's fault. Oh, no, the delay's not their fault. And so desperation set in. Being at the Delta hub in Atlanta, where I was on the air at the Monster Station there. It's the WBAP of Dallas, of Atlanta. It's bigger. It's an incredibly big stage for Atlanta. Another major market, but not as big as Dallas, but close. Anyway, he remembered me. And so we chatted. I think he went out of his way a little bit more, and I was super grateful. I wasn't, playing a game, but anything you can do to get him on your good side. So he got me up. Here was my Hail Mary. You're going to go to White Plains, New York, which I'm thinking, is that like upstate New York? Am I going to like the Catskill Mountains? The Catskills, Jackie Mason, comedy. No. So I go there because it's like the Uber is like an hour, hour 20 minutes to 2 hours and 2 minutes. $123. Wow. Instead of $60 from JFK. But I'm like, you know what? For $63, I can get there. And I did it, and I went to White Plains, New York. And the cherry on top of the icing on the cake was leaving that luggage, my luggage that was stowed away underneath the plane. You didn't have to, but it was a tiny plane, a little tiny plane, and it was like the smallest jet. It was like a corporate jet and a cigarette jet, and so I forgot it there. And so I get off, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, I got to go back. No, they're like, no, it's coming in the baggage claim. And it came in like 5 minutes because it's a tiny airport. So I Ubered it, got here on time. Me and this guy from the Dominican Republic, the DR, were talking in Spanish the whole time. And we talked about Trump, and also we had a lot of – we laughed. And let's just say we did a pit stop together. I'll just kind of leave your imagination at that. Me and the man from the DR went, vámonos a ir al baño, and an expressway. And I come back and I go, los amigos del baño, sí. And my friend from Dominican Republic who doesn't speak English was cackling. So I had a good day, but my body is destroyed. My legs are spaghetti. I got my Soda Weight Loss workout. Once again, I'd hit the ding for my sponsor, but I can't because I didn't bring it. How about you? What's your worst airport or airplane experience ever? And how did it work out? And for those of you who work in the airline industry, I love you guys. You're the best calls. I love them. Pilots, co-pilots.
This is your captain speaking.
And your hostesses, what do you call it? Stewardesses or whatever you got. Flight attendants. Don't want to offend anybody. Oh, no, I'm the diversity king. And then ticket takers, whatever you call it. Oh, you guys are like, people just lash out at you, the worst of the worst. So I try to make all you laugh, and I love your stories. So tell them, what's the worst situation you've had from us? And for us, what's the worst situation you've had where you've been raked over the coals by the airline or by the situation? And how did it turn out? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. And chime in right now. Line's wide open for you. I was supposed to get here at like 12:20 and then get into the hotel probably by 1. And instead it wasn't too bad, though. I was like blown away. I still got here going from White Plains, freaking New York. The greater White Plains metropolitan area. It's probably near Hillary, Bill. Hillary. Yep, my mom said today, I was talking in an Uber on the way in. Yeah. We got a mandate. I had a call that I used to call in around that time with Al Gore was losing and didn't step down. And we had a thing at the state capitol building in Jefferson City, Missouri, and I was in a Gore. We had a guy in a Gore costume, and I was commanding him on my live broadcast in front of the steps of the Capitol to step down. And Al Gore, in shame, with a trench coat, stepped down from the steps, and we cheered. But I had a caller named Mandy that used to call around that time, and I called her Mandy. Yeah, I got a mandate. We had some fun, but I want to hear your stories from the crap that you've gone through, the worst situations you've had in the airport, and how that experience played out. And what about you guys that are in the airline industry, flight attendants, pilots, etc.? What are the most nightmare stories? Oh my gosh, you know what? Some of the favorite things I've seen. We played some of the audio for this for you over the years of this. Our number, by the way, is 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. The ladies that pop a squat right there in the plane. You ever see some of those videos? The one lady that was recently, I think she was from here, coming from Orlando. She goes, I gotta go pee. And she's like, excuse me. And she goes, I gotta go pee. And everybody goes, ah. And then she cops a squat, and the dude's bag on the ground. He goes, oh, and he picks it up and pulls back. And then he goes, sorry. And then she goes, I gotta go. She yells at him. She goes, sorry. It's like, oh my gosh, you wicked woman. And then how about that woman who was, I think, from Jamaica or something? She had a heavy Caribbean accent. And the flight attendant's recording her and goes, that is so gross. Oh, that smells. And she's like, you won't let me go to the bathroom. I'm going. Leave me alone. And she's sitting there squatting, going to the number one on the ground. Like it's just squatting, disgusting. So I think that was my favorite one. Oh, but Dr. Dow, I don't know producer Garrett or producer Thomas. If you had, don't be doubting Thomas. If you have that audio, if you can pull up in the archives, the Dr. Dow, D-A-U, I think it is, or D-O-U. Dr. Dow is my most favorite of all time incident in audio, where he screams like a caged chicken, ah, ah, and the cops are, and the woman goes, what are you doing? Ah! And it's like, dude, the guy was ordered by 2 cops, Chicago cops, at the behest of the airline to get off the damn plane, excuse my language, and he wouldn't go. And even if you're wrong, if you've been wrong, the cops are there. It's over. Like, the airline's done with you. The cops are coming to arrest you and drag you off. So they drag him off, and he starts screaming. Let me hear, doctor. Wait, but hold on. Let's take a moment. To enjoy the richness of this moment. Do you remember this wonderful moment? Dr. Dow, who's a disgraced physician from Louisville, who went on a bender with some of his patients and was abusing and doling out narcotic type things, and was caught. So he had his medical license suspended. He could only practice like on weekends. I'm not kidding you, for like years. And Dr. Dow, this mysterious Dr. Dow, was reportedly possibly for a little hookup or something. Or I can't remember, but he was in Chicago going back to Louisville, and he was dragged off because he wouldn't get off. Ah! Let's hear it. He's like a chicken cage. Go.
Can't the pilots drive to Louisville? Can't they rent a car for the pilots and have them drive? Oh my God! No! My God! What are you doing? No! This is wrong! Oh my God! Look at what you're doing to him!
No, woman! It's right!
Oh my God!
Oh, it's beautiful. It's like, what is that movie, Bird Box? Oh, it's beautiful. Look at it. Look at it. Ah, that's what I'd be saying. Ah. I mean, I have no sympathy for you when you refuse to obey the police and the airlines ordered you out. If a restaurant tells me to get out, even if I've been wrong, and then they send the cops, I'm going. And I'm not going to go, ah! Sorry. Okay. Your best and worst airport experiences, and with the airline employees as well. All y'all. 800-288-WBAP. Boston versus Dallas. Lobster and disgustingly horrific accents versus an anti-cop, all that woke stuff, Soros stuff, versus Dallas, which is a socialist leftist versus the fake Republican mayor who we have, who at least respects the law and cops. What do you not like about Boston? Like when you park the car in the bar? Why is DFW a better place to live and a better city, in your opinion? All right. That is next, as well as the Celtics hopefully get their buttocks wiped in 4 games straight. All right, and Roy and Rowlett will be taking you next about Southwest Airlines. Rutrow Rastro next. News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Share your worst airport and airline experiences or airplane experiences ever, and how did it work out? I shared my epic nightmare where I couldn't. I lost track. I was going to sleep 4 hours on the 2 flights from DFW Atlanta to JFK, but when it all got 2 sheets to win, I spent the 2 hours coming in on my 3rd attempted flight to. How am I going to try to get from White Plains, New York to JFK area? So anyways, but it worked out. But it was crazy. And I for some reason, it was so bad, I just decided to make it fun and hold out hope. And so there you go. Okay, now I wanted to get into this, too, because I think this is a fun one. Boston versus Dallas. I know the Celtics and the Mavs are going to play, and I can't share anything with any highlights in real time. That's that's a highly don't do it unless you're the sports station that carries them. But the thing is, it's Boston versus Dallas. Lobster and accents. I was saying this in the car with my new buddy, my new best friend, as it were, from the Dominican Republic, the DR, who was driving my Uber here. And he's like, oh, you got the Mavericks and Dallas and Boston. I said, yeah, Boston sucks. I hate Boston. Not because we're playing them, but because their accents are disgusting to me. And I'm sorry if somebody listening is from Boston. Your accent is unacceptable. It's disgusting. It's annoying. I'm sorry. I can't stand it. I know, like, look, my old boss at WBAP is an icon, and he's the sweetest man in the world. He was good friends with Rush all of his life until Rush passed away, and he's a tremendous, wonderful man. And he's retired now. You'll remember his name, Tyler Cox. Tyler was a dear, sweet mentor to me for 6 years, and I was grateful to be under his tutelage for 6 years. And sometimes he had to take me to school, but he was an amazing man. Anyways, Tyler said he worked at the big Boston talk station back in the day for like 2 years, and he said they were wonderful people. He loved it. I'm like, dude, and he's from Kentucky. I'm like, what is wrong with you, dude? So no, maybe I would like some things, but their mayor is a socialist. She hates the cops. She loves criminals, and she's got a real problem with people that aren't, of the right persuasion. It's really sick. But we have this fake Republican. He's a Republican now. Bow down to him. Worship the guy. What's his name? Our mayor. I'll take it, but he's fake. Just know that. He's a fake Republican that's going to run in the statewide, and that's election. That's why he's turned to Republican. He didn't do it because he's like, I'm a Republican. And then Fox News kissed his rump for like a month. Had him on all the shows. Get out of here. If you guys were here, you'd figure it out. No, thank you. But I'll take him. Because he's pro-cop and pro this and that. So, but here's the deal. He's a fake Republican, and he annoys me, but nonetheless, he's a lot better than that woman. That woman's insane. So that plus the accent. What is wrong with these people with horrible accents? Park the car on the bar, and then and then they get this woman who hates cops and hates it. What are you guys doing? What are you, Soviets or communists? Are you Venezuelans? You want Nicolas Maduro there? What's wrong with you people? And the Celtics, did you see that HBO special with Hang Time or whatever it was with the LA stuff with LA when they rose to the championship? That was the best ever series. And the Boston people were just sick bleeps. They cheated. They were disgusting. They were angry. What's that short, fat guy that was the legendary coach? What a punk that guy was. No, thank you. All of them. And I'm not saying that because I live in Dallas. I do adopt my team no matter what, even if I'm not a big fan of anything, because, I support my home team when we're big. I'm like one of those convenient fans. But no, the Mavs are huge in our town. I know that, and that's cool. But anyway, I can't stand. What do you think? Dallas versus Boston. What's your take on that? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Now, Stephen Moore, a.k.a. Steve Moore, you see him on Fox News all the time. He was a Trump economist, and he's on Fox News all the time. He's on the Kudlow Show all the time, etc. He comes up next with us to tell us about the new jobs numbers, the ADP jobs number that came out. What does that mean for our economy? What about Bidenomics? How's it working versus what Trump would do? All that's next. Kris Krok on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.